Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Supernatural Speak. Of course, y'all recognize my porch, who I'm currently, if I want to do anything, I have to be on the porch tonight. So nothing new there. One thing that I want to make sure I do tonight, so I don't stop in the middle of the show with my whole, once again, any of the opinions of guests, myself, do not reflect the opinion of the Midnight Wolf Pack. So there will be none of that. Hey Sherry, how you doing? I finally got John on here tonight. Last time it was kind of, no, you're just not gonna. He's been one of two guests that I had to fight with the internet and cancel and reschedule. So I want y'all to give him a nice welcome tonight. If you have any questions, he is more than willing to answer. He was on Angie's show last night. So we're gonna get this party rolling. Like I said, put the questions in chat. If I don't get to it right away, I will. Hey Sheila, another thing I wanted to do, I need to wish my sister Sheila Brown a happy birthday. She is our resident Marine, so we got to celebrate her today. Hey Denise, how you doing? Eileen, which is this, Ernie or Denise for Midnight Wolfpack? Eileen, because it probably Denise again. It confuses her all the time. So we'll start off. I'm gonna let you tell everybody about yourself because you are a man of many talents. Oh, hey Leanne, I know between photography and hell, there's no telling what else you do.
Yeah, well, I'm John, or some people call me John. I'm a professional photographer now for about 15 years. I've also own and operate a mobile art show, which I've done art show production now for almost 12 years as well. So that's kind of like something that nobody really knows. It's kind of like my side business, so to speak. Top of that, I'm a storm chaser. I'm part of Chamber of Commerce through Bartlett and other little cities like that, just trying to, and I work a lot with the community as well. So that's just some of the things that I do. But yeah.
When I saw, like when we talked, the storm chaser thing had me just like, okay, yeah, this dude is fearless.
Yeah, some people think I have like a death wish or something like that. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but you know, I just like.
How long have you been doing that?
Storm chasing haven't been that long, probably almost 7 years. Getting on 7 years, so you know.
Wow, to me, that's a long time. And you're still alive.
Well, you know, by the grace of God, I am. So you know, I've had some close calls and stuff like that, but you know, it's it's all part of it, so to speak. So you know.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of paranormal along the way with that too, though.
Yeah, and the paranormal has always been like in my life since I was a kid. You know, I just remember like up until 6 years old, because that's how far my memory goes back. But since I was born, you know, my parents always had like things around me, and I mean like they've always seen like shadow figures just like around my crib, or some crazy cat would just like be on my chest, and they'll go like putting its mouth against my nose and like breathing in my energy. And it's always been like some crazy stuff like that since I was a kid. So top of that, there's been a couple of times when I had, like, I want to say at least 4 or 5 times where I had near-death experiences, all that stuff too. So throw that in, and it just makes, I guess, the product of what you see today.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, then that's a lot. I mean, well, and there's a lot of us out there that,
Mhm.
we were sheltered. We didn't have, parents that would even talk about it, or much less admit to it.
Yeah, and my parents didn't really talk about it. That's the thing. It was like my dad had abilities and stuff like that, and he was what you call the curandero as well. He would heal people with prayer, and he would put hands on people, and he would pray and heal them like that. But he would never talk about it. He would say, even when I was growing up, I felt like I had something, but it was difficult for him to express what was going on, because I don't think he himself kind of knew what was going on. He just knew, like, it was a gift from God, but that was all. But I don't think he really knew the extent of it, because he would used to tell me, like, he would when he would go to sleep, like, he could see himself like over himself and then go off into other places and stuff. So he would actually protect himself.
Yeah.
And he just never really, I guess, never really kind of did the research or even talked to somebody else about it. So I mean, he's had premonitions. When the stealth bomber came out, he had a dream that he saw an airplane and he threw it out and all this other stuff. And then a year later, the stealth bomber came out, and he was like, "That's what I seen. That's what I seen." We still have his original drawing with the date on it and everything. So it's been in our family for a long time on both sides of our family. So
and then so neither side really shared until you started asking questions, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because like, well, we all knew about my grandma, which is my dad's mom, and she did a little bit of, well, I don't want to say a little bit. She did a lot of like witchcraft, and she was pretty well known in that town. She is not the woman to be messing with, so she had a reputation already, and it wasn't a very good one. But when I started doing research on that side of the family, my dad's side of the family, I found out that we were like a long line of healers. But I'm only calling them healers because that's what you really want to put them in the category. But when there's necromancy and voodoo and hoodoo involved and witchcraft and the black magic, all that stuff is like tied down all the way down, to my great grandparents, and when you dig deeper, then you find out that your great grandparents used to, I don't want to say this, but it's tied in. They used to handle people, so to speak, whenever somebody got in their way, so that way they could gain power, and that's where my lineage comes from on my dad's side, but on my mom's side, people have dabbled in things, and there's been rumors that my uncles and stuff like that have, read the Satanic Bible, and things have taken over them, and it's just like a big mess, so to speak. But
you don't know which way you're going to go for either one of it. We've already got, okay. Hey, Bob, how you doing? I know you and I've already talked, but I do want to answer the questions since I already know. Eileen said her father-in-law helped design the stealth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Bob, I'm so glad you're here. I know I already said hey, but I'm so happy to have you. Josh Chow is my brother. He was wondering about the nationality.
Okay, so I'm Hispanic, and we have some Comanche in me as well. So our nationality, or our heritage, goes back, and I traced it back to the Canary Islands in Spain. So we go from there, and then we go into deep Mexico, and to where we are right now. And my last name, Montalongo, is from a small little village in Spain. It's called Monte. So I can't remember what it is, but it means like big mountain. That's what it's called. But our lineage comes from there. Then here in Texas, we're half Comanche, and then Mexican as well. So that's
you've got the melting pot. You sound like my grandkids. I've got the United Nations, and I love every. I mean, I just think it makes people just so much more beautiful. And then, I'm sure you've done a lot of work on your genealogy.
Yeah. Yes.
How long did that take you?
Well,
or did your family have good records?
Well, my brother did some stuff as well, and he did some of the work, and kind of was like just did some tracing. But before that, I was actually kind of doing more, trying to follow where the abilities came from, and I just kind of stirred in that way, in that direction, because there's almost everybody in my family, first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, we all have abilities in some type of way. It is strange. Like everybody related to me has something, including my mom's side. Like my first cousins, I mean, they see stuff, they hear stuff, and all that other stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I also got it on my dad's side. I also got it from my mom's side, But
yeah, you got a double dose.
and like the only thing that kind of separates what's going on now is what they used to do was, I guess you would consider it like they used to practice to harm people, so that was their purpose, but now, because when my dad had passed, he was going into the other direction. So he was actually trying to help people with prayer and heal people, so I kind of took on that note, and that's what I wanted to follow. I wanted to help people. That was my call. I wanted to do that, so when I started learning my abilities as well, I was going to that darker stuff because it's in my blood. So it was like a calling, like I need to go this way, but I tried so hard to resist that. And I had one case that kind of just determined and changed my entire life on that. And from right there, it was just like, okay, I know where I'm going from here. I'm not turning back. So every time I don't even dabble in anything. I do research on that part because in some of the cases that I do have,
that's necessary.
And you have to know what you're up against, so I do that, but I try not to get into that whole other realm because I know what it would do. It's almost like getting off, coming back, you're just off of rehab and you're like getting in there, you're like, oh, this is exciting again, and I'm trying to avoid.
You're like, no, let me not do that. Todd, Leanne, Ernie, thank you for sharing as always. Ernie Pack is the man. He shares all the shows everywhere. No one shares like Ernie. That did not sound good. That's my brother though, and I love him. Yeah, so we got us a group, a great group. Cool. Midnight Wolfpack is 3 different groups, very talented group. I couldn't be blessed to have better people in my corner and in my life. Hey Wesley, how you doing? Let's see, Chastity. Hey girl. Yes, Chastity said it best. Sometimes those family demons are scarier than anything paranormal. That's right, girl.
Yeah. It's
Michelle, we have a good one in here tonight for you, John. Michelle is in here. I love Michelle. You got to follow her on TikTok. She's hysterical. When I talk to you, I mean, I just really find, the family background is amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people don't even know that much about their family, much less to get that far.
Yeah. For me, it was just like, I really needed to understand. Well, first, I really needed to know, like, I'm not crazy, so with people with abilities, you kind of go through that stage of like, okay, I'm just imagining this. I'm not imagining this. Am I hearing this because, am I depressed? That's why I'm feeling like this. And then the more you start digging, it's just like, wait a minute. I need to take a step back here. And then you take a step back and then you just kind of overall see, and you start trying to talk to other people. And when you reach out to other people, they kind of help you along the way. And that's what happened to me. And it happened to me. Things that happen to me always seem to happen when they need to. It's not like, oh, I just met somebody. It's like I was figuring out where my abilities were, and then we had a case, and we had a big investigation in Tombstone at the Birdcage Theater. Yeah, I went over there, checked it out, and like there's this lady who owned a shop next door. She invited us in to do a small little tour with our group. And then she just keeps on looking at me and keeps on looking at me. And then all of a sudden she's just like, you're special. That's all she told me. And I was like, huh? And she goes, come over here, come over here. So I went up to her and she goes, you're a clairsentient. I was like, a what? She's like, you're a clairsentient. And I was like, I don't know what that is. So she wrote it down for me, gave me the piece of paper. She's like, after you guys are done with your investigation, I want you to go back to the hotel room, look all this up, and if everything fits you, come back tomorrow and talk to me. I was like, okay. And everything fit as far as the clairsentient. And I was like, okay, cool. Went back to her, and right there, inside of her shop, she turned off all the lights or whatever, and she was just like, do you see that hall down there? Can you tell me what's down there? Can you feel this? Can you feel that? And I was just like, whoa. I'm barely new to this. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like, what are you doing to me? Are you about to like lock me in a freezer? What's going on?
Yeah, and she was just like, we would have our hands close to each other like this, and she would tell me to close my eyes and just push, but without physically pushing. And I was like, okay, I can try that. And we were there, and I felt like a little weird magnetism like between us. It was crazy. And I was like, I've never experienced this before. I don't know what's going on. So when I left Tombstone, I mean, it was just like, I'm going to do research. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And all of a sudden, like all my senses and everything was just like opening up. And it just became a big floodgate of stuff that I just didn't understand. But then I was picking up the abilities like super quick. Like everything was coming so natural.
Yeah.
Now I'm here today, and like the psychometry stuff, when you put your hands on objects and you pick that up, I've always done that, but I never knew what it was, until
you're
I
like,
had
well, I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I found that out through, what's his name? Oh my gosh, Rich Valdez.
That is an awesome dude. He is a great guy. And I've been blessed to have him on my show twice.
Okay.
He's a great guy. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better person to talk to. Mm-hmm. He's very knowledgeable. I trust him.
Yeah.
Explicitly.
So when I was talking to him about it, and he was just like, "Oh, so that's psychometry. That's what you got." And I was like, "Oh, what?" And that was another thing that I didn't know, but I knew I had. I just didn't understand what it was, until he told me. And then I did some more research on it, and I was sounding like, yes, that's what it is. That's what's going on with me.
You're like, I have been diagnosed.
Yeah, pretty much. But the other questions are just like, my abilities are a little bit different than others, so, and I mean that like, because I don't know why I can't pick up like on non-demonic entities. Like I can't pick up human spirits. I can't pick up anything like that. So if I go into a place and I don't sense anything, there's nothing there, but if I go into a place and everything is just like opens up, I immediately know exactly where it's at, what it's thinking, what it's trying to do, who's it targeting. And it gives me a handbook of what is going on in that house or that location.
Like everything just starts playing.
Yeah. Everything starts going. And after a while there, I started keeping a little blue book. And every time I go into a location, I write down everything that I feel, every single thing, even if it's just like a weird pain in my neck, my eyes hurt, or something's like messing with my hair or something like that. I just write down everything. And then by the time I'm done with my walkthrough, I go to the client and I just sit them down. I'm like, so this is what I picked up. I don't know anything about what's going on, but I'm gonna sit you down and I'm gonna go room by room with you. And you just kind of tell me yes or no, so that's what happens. And like I said, a lot of the time, I think I want to say like 95, 96% of the time I've been right on everything, but
you have to, I totally believe in keeping a notebook. And I think that helps people, especially people that are, even if you're still, and I believe, just my personal belief, that we continuously grow. It's just like in not just the paranormal field, in anything. You
Mhm.
constantly learn. You learn until the day you leave this life.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, leave that legacy behind. Leave your information behind.
Hmm.
But it
Yeah,
also helps you go back.
and it does because I mean, like I said, I tend to have cases. Well, let's just rewind a little bit. So I quit paranormal for a little bit because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So for about a year and a half, I stopped, and then like I was doing my urban exploring and my photography and stuff like that. And every single time I would go and come back, and I would start editing, I would always pick up like EVPs on my videos. I'm like, oh, I can't get away from this, man. So like one day I was just like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna go back into it. I'm gonna go into it, and I shit you not, like on Facebook, I'm scrolling through it, and one of my friends had shared something about Blue Bonnet Paranormal is looking for new members, and I was like, I'll try. Cool. So I'm messaging him, and then I meet the leader. Her name is Mary, and we get to talking. She gets me on the team, and I tell her immediately, like, okay, so I'm on your team. Be prepared. We are nothing. We're only. Oh, how did I say that? I was like, be prepared because from now on, we're all gonna have just nothing but demonic cases, and it's been almost 3 years now, and it's always been something like that along the lines, you know. So like, when I started keeping my notebook, I go back to it because like now, because I don't want to consider myself an exorcist because that's not what I'm doing. You know, I go when people need help. Yes, I go pray over them. I go cleanse the house. I do all that stuff. You know, if somebody, I've seen somebody when they're fully possessed, and I haven't got, I haven't done that part yet, but I'm always seeing to catch them right before all that happens. So I'll
Yeah.
go in and I'll pray over them, and I'll get the attachment away. I cast anything away that is there, and from some reason, it's like I've become like a target. So
And that is funny that you bring that up. And before I get into that, let me get this out of the way because that's gonna take us on another rabbit hole, and you already know
okay,
it. Because you're getting some comments here.
okay,
Melissa said he's amazing at what he does. Hey Mike, how you doing, brother? Vicky, and we'll get to that question after I say hello. That Vicky, I'm going to get to your question.
okay.
Speaking about what you're talking about,
Yes.
that was something that was brought up by someone else.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people, when you deal with the dark, there's
Mhm.
what they call a marking.
Yes.
Um, and you know what it sounds like, is what to me,
Mhm.
if you deal with that for long enough, you get into those situations.
Yes.
And I'm glad you brought up what you did also because a lot of people don't understand. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah.
And it's everybody knows me for being very vocal about it. And I'm
Yes.
glad you brought it up because you said you don't do exorcisms.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. A lot of people don't understand out here, and I
Mhm.
hear it all the time, and I really just want to choke people. They don't realize if you do not have authority from the church,
Mhm.
and I mean whatever church, religion based, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
It's just not. Just like
Mhm.
demonologists, there unfortunately, well, now I'm going to say fortunately, there's only a handful of demonologists that are recognized by the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you brought that up because you're promoting the safety of it. People don't
Mhm.
need to go in and do that.
Yeah.
And
And
so I'm so glad to hear you do that.
let me get my charger real quick because I didn't know I didn't take
Gotcha.
my battery.
Gotcha. Oh, hey Josh, how you doing, brother? Denise, we're all marked, honey. But you're an ass kicker, so I'm doing fine, Mike. Thank you for asking.
Apologize for this.
Oh, it's okay. Like I said, this is not really a show. I call it a conversation. I like to keep it real. I don't have all these fancy lights and stuff. I just like to talk to people.
What are you saying? I don't. You like my background lights?
You like mine? Look.
Oh, I see somebody walking behind you.
Yeah, my son. It's dinner time.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting back to that, the being marked, I didn't really know about that until I actually started doing it a lot more. So like last year, we recorded 74 cases, and a majority of them, a lady named Mary Fellers, which is the team lead for Blue Bonnet Paranormal. She has been with me since almost the beginning on each one of those cases. So she went from like almost like not really knowing what that is to like, oh shit, I know what that is now. So it's been a little ride, but it seems like the amount I have done, it's like I did get a marking now. So like every case that I have, if there's something demonic in there, I mean, that thing will call me out by name. I really can't say what happened this past weekend when I was in Kansas, because I signed an NDA and stuff like that, so I can't really say too much. But that thing that was there, I can tell you this, that mid last year, the number 9 had like came to me. Like, I have no idea. It just hit me out of nowhere. So I was like, okay. I wrote in that book that I have number 9. I just make a big old 9 out of it. And, I even put the Roman numeral 9. I don't know why, I just did that. And then I wrote on a little side note right next to it, like, number 9 keeps on coming to me. Don't know why, but I feel like I need to prepare myself for whatever's coming. That's all I put. Okay. Fast forward. I get a call from Mineral Wells, Texas. And there's this gentleman who we only met like once, and that was probably it. But then something was attached to him, and something very bad. And he was saying, John can't save me. John can't save me. I am one of 9. John can't save me. So he was telling that to a friend of mine. She calls me up and tells me this, and she was like, he barely knows who you are, and he's calling you out like you can't save him. So I was like, you know what? I'm on my way. And sorry, somebody's trying to call me. And I went over there. I performed that right on him, and I took whatever was off of him and left it alone. He's been good ever since. But then fast forward a week and a half later, I get a call from another case manager from Houston telling me, hey, I have a girl over here who's going through what looks like almost like a possession stage. She's saying she's 2 of 9. And I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah, can you help me with this? I was like, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. So I took off, did the same thing, cast it out, all that other stuff. Got another case in Dallas, DFW. And this lady was saying that she is 3 of 9 and that I could not help her. That's what she was telling the caseworker, that John, cannot help me. And she has no idea who I am. But she said, well, John, that'll do it. I am 3 of 9. And then the caseworker lost complete contact with her. We don't know what happened to her or anything. Fast forward, maybe about 4 or 5 months later, what happened in Kansas was 9 of 9. And if anybody knows anything about that, it's something very big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother load status.
Yeah. You sound kind of low. Hang on. There you go. Yeah. And there's been other demonic presences that have followed me into other cases and stuff like that. I even have a case that's a 2-part case that I call The Following Shadow, simply because it followed me on 3 cases, separate cases. And the other one was like the Bird of Prey, which is one that was in Waco. I went face to face with that one, and I found out that one is in Bartlett as well. And that one's been chasing me as well. And then the one from Wisconsin, the one that changed my life, that one has followed me as well. So it feels like I have become marked now, And
I wonder about that. Like, okay, Ernie brought up a good point. Ernie's been in the field for a long time.
Yes.
And, he's only dealt with 2 cases that were truly demonic.
Yes.
It makes me wonder, if it's because they're tricksters.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're basically chasing the same damn thing and it's going from person to person, calling
Yeah.
you out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
And they lay traps. They lay traps. That's why I tell
Yeah.
people, be very careful. If you don't know what you're doing, people,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
don't go. And I think another reason too, I mean, obviously it's probably got a lot to do with your lineage
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
When you're continuously around something like that, you're going to keep getting called.
Yeah.
It's gonna, like you said, it's marked.
Yeah.
I have a family member, same situation. If you deal,
Mm-hmm.
when you fight, that's they don't forget you.
Nope.
I wouldn't be
Nope.
wanting to chase 9 things. Oh, Sherry, I got you, baby. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really involved in the conversation. She wants
Sorry
to
if I
know.
speak too long.
Oh no, you're not. It's just like when sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I'm really ready. She wants to know, have you had any attachments, been
Yes.
followed home, and what do you do about it?
So when I say the Wisconsin case changed my life, I meant it in a faith and spiritual way. So after that case, I give everything now to Lord Jesus Christ. That's where my power comes from. That's where everything that I do comes from. So every single time I've like I said, the abilities that I have, I can sense them even when they're on me, and I know yourself. So when you're acting or you feel a different way, there's
Yeah,
just something crazy. Your atmosphere around you, your environment around you is totally off. That's when you should be like, okay, maybe I'm not just having bad luck. Maybe there is something attached to me. So I
yeah,
take all the precautions. I bless myself. I cover myself with the blood of Jesus Christ. I bless and protect my family and my house, everything that is around me. I make sure that it is off. And I'll sit here for an hour just praying and getting it off and asking God to help me and all this. I mean, I go through every single thing, so there's been a couple of times leading up to this Kansas one where, I mean, I had visitors come, and I have some drawings here where they actually showed themselves to me, and I could not take it out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna draw you. I gotta put it out to get it out of here. I gotta put it on paper, and that entire night for almost 45 minutes, I was up and down my house, saging, holy water, anointing oil. It was freezing cold. I was like, put some sweatpants on, and I put borders on my property, and I did all that so that way it cannot come in. And as soon as I did that, it was just like I could see it on the street. It was like hunched down, looking at me like this, and you could
oh hell
see
no.
it's building up. Like it was angry, and I could never get that out of my mind. So I put it on the drawing, and that's what I got. If you want to see the drawing, I got it. I can show it to you real
I
quick.
do.
Let me see.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna do a break. The Parrot Thug always got nails on fleek today, guys. Yes.
Well, thought I had it. I should have been more prepared. Sorry.
And guys, I will share a story just here shortly. I think it's something that Denise would like to get out there.
So this was at my window that night.
Oh no, not scary, not at all.
So I'm not too great of an artist, so I really
I'm
couldn't
not an
capture
artist
what
at
it
all,
actually looked
John.
like.
So you're doing better than me. Mine would look like a stick figure with horns and yeah.
So it's always been like that though. So like I've always thought I was crazy, so I never really paid attention to it. When I was 17 years old, I would night stalk at HEB, and back then HEB would lock you in and you just work by yourself. And I was working in an old building, and when lightning storms would come, the lights would literally just turn off, and I would just sit in the middle of the aisle like, oh great, and the lights are completely off. But at the same time, I could see like dark in the dark shadows just pass by me. gently just touch me, and hear my name being called. It was always like that. But once like I said, once I start opening my abilities, the communication with the darker stuff has been like a conversation between you and me without any words. So I go into a
Yeah.
place, I can feel, I can feel what it's actually trying to do. Um, it's almost like reading body language. Like, when a person's lying, that type of stuff. So I put it the same way with that type of energy. Like, the energy that it's giving to me or it's trying to share with me, I know when it's lying. I can tell when it's trying to manipulate somebody. I can see when it's like trying to maneuver secretly. So sometimes I have to be very strategic and very just play chess with it. And sometimes I'll get the best of it. There's been a couple of times where I put it in a trap in order for it to come on out. So that way it can unmask itself. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I got you. And then you could just feel the whole energy just like, whoa, no, I didn't like that.
You're like,
so,
checkmate.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
And so is 9, I mean, have you had 9 come up again?
Yeah, recently in this past case in Kansas, which is, I mean, we're filming for a new series right now. So I really can't say too much about it. So
Understood.
I was not expecting it to be there. I can say that, but because of the location and all that other stuff and all the craziness that surrounds it, I went in there thinking it was something completely different. But then, like, how I investigate is, and because of the abilities I have, it's like I can peel back all its layers, and
Yeah.
I'm calling it out as I'm peeling it back, and then it's just like puts itself in a corner. And then all of a sudden, it's like, boom, I'm really this. And when it did that, I was like, oh, okay, now I know, now I understand. And like, I don't know, it's ever since then, it's been like on my mind now. Like, I cannot forget about it. And like, the more research I'm doing on it, because it feels like I need to prepare myself, because we are going back.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of weeks. So
yeah, I think you need to be prepared. But I
yeah.
think, you know what? I think a lot of us need to understand that research is detrimental to everything we do, not
Yes.
just for us to properly investigate, but for us to properly protect ourselves and the others. Oh, Mary Jo was saying we can almost always tell when something is on him.
That's why they gave him the name Spooky Boy.
Oh Lord, you're the spooky boy and I'm the parathug. So it is what it is. Own it.
They gave me Spooky Boy because there's been a couple of cases where before I knew how to control what I have, I let them take over me, and like my eyes would get like super black. My eyes would turn black. I would be completely somebody different. I would answer their questions when I'm in other people's rooms, like in a couple of cases.
No, John, no. And I'm so glad
that case in Round Rock, it was a friend of mine. We went to go do it, all that other stuff. Found out there was like some kind of demonic attachment there. But this was before Tombstone. This was like, I think it was like 3 or 4 days before Tombstone. And went there. I got something was controlling me. So for a time there, I can't remember, but Mary Jo was telling me they were looking for me, and then she had found me in a closet, and sitting in the dark. And apparently, I was answering the questions that they were asking, like 2 bedrooms down, and I was answering them in the other bedroom. And she said I was completely different for that entire night. I know I woke up the next morning with like stabbing pains all over my stomach, all over my chest. I was sick for a couple of days leading up into Tombstone. Like, I was dry heaving for like almost a day and a half.
Yeah, because she said she thinks it was like 2 days.
Yeah. I was really sick. I was like, I'm going to go to Tombstone. I don't care. So I was throwing up on the way down
Tombstone there. Is on the bucket list. Sherry, Vicky, I know Ernie. We all, Tombstone is like the dream for us. Road trip people.
I would say stay away from the Mexican food there.
There you have it. There, you've gotten your announcement, people. She said he sat in the back seat behind me on the way home, acting very dark and wouldn't say a word. I almost made him walk home. You wouldn't have left him behind, Mary Jo. You wouldn't have done it. Yeah, there's a lot now. And see here, okay, my dear sister, who's in chat right now, we can speak from the fact of what it's like to be marked. One thing that we are dealing with, and it's hard to get different with it because I am number 3.
Okay.
But recently 3s have been, it's 3 is a thing, and she has been affected and she has been fighting. And we actually had a situation where something happened at a location. I was told, I heard the voice tell me, I'm going to push her over the rail.
Oh, wow.
Now I thought it was the person that I was in the room with. So my main goal was to protect her.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is it was talking about my other sister.
Yeah.
And she was standing at the rail and said she wanted to jump.
Really?
Yes. And she has had a lot of problems because, I mean, she's a soldier for real. She's a warrior.
Yeah.
And, you know, the effects that she has had, you know, she is marked. So, I mean, there's a couple of us that are. And it's, you know, not that we did anything wrong or we went looking for anything.
Yes.
You know, but she's, you know, that's definitely someone, you know, you might want to talk to. You know, I mean, her story is one that I want her to tell because it to me, it's very personal and no one can tell it like she does. You know, she's the one that experiences it, but I want people to understand, and I'm glad you've shared in depth what your life is like, because it's important. This is real. You know, people put the stigma of, oh, you're just out here chasing demons. I'm not chasing shit. I don't want those problems.
Yeah.
You know, if you end up somewhere, you know, you end up somewhere.
Yeah.
But
pretty much.
It doesn't matter where you're at, people. Yeah. If you're around something that's very dark, demonic, whatever you want to call it, it's going to find you wherever you're at.
Yeah.
It's not something you play with. You get help when you need it. You know, that's why I think it's very important as an investigator, you don't deem everything that's dark, people, is not demonic.
Yeah.
Some things don't know how to manifest anything other than dark. But never discount what a person is saying. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, this is demonic, this is demonic, this is demonic. Hey, man, some of those people are telling the truth. Some of them,
like, they know when we are coming. So it's like they will back off on purpose, knowing that we're going to be investigating. And then once we leave, we get another call like, oh, it's starting up again. It's starting up again. They're like, wait a minute, I just left and there was nothing happening. You know, so that's how it works too. I mean, it knows that we are coming. You know, it knows that. It knows, I mean, of course they know. I mean, they're following on the cases. You know, they're putting themselves in that situations for I don't know what, but you know, they're putting themselves there. But
yeah. And it's and it's hard because it's just like people, you know, they find it so hard that if they're gifted, they're afraid. I mean, it's like being in a giant paranormal closet, people.
Yeah.
There should be no closets that you need to hide in. Like, period. I don't care, you know, and I'm talking about if you're gay, go for it. There ain't no closet you need to be in. That's part of who you are. Black, white, Hispanic, I don't care. We're all people. We all have these same issues. Some are better. What are we going to choose to do? Are we going to help people? Or are we going to sit back and be like, no, they're just loony? Well, hell, I'd rather find out you're loony than find out that I walked away from you when you needed my help.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and
it is what it is.
Yeah. And for some people, you know, it's hard for them. I get a lot of questions like, hey, when did you start really doing this and all that other stuff? And, you know, they look at me crazy sometimes when I was like, well, you know, it feels like more of a calling, you know, because like ever since I could remember when I was like, even as an early teen up until like I was almost 20, you know, I would have conversations with my dad and like, you know what, I've always felt like I'm a like a soldier of God, but like not in a prayer sense, but like in another type of like actual like go fight. Like I was meant to be here to go fight. I've always, always, always felt like that. And he would always tell me, you know, just have this, you know, be right with God. Make sure you have everything lined up with Him, because if you go in there like that and how you are, because back then when I was an early teenager or even 20s, you know, we're 20 years old, you know, so, you
Yeah.
know, we're going to do stuff, you know, so he would always just tell me, you know, you got to get right with God. You got to have the shield. You got to have all that stuff. You got to have no prayer. You got to have all this, you know, and I've always thought like, man, I'm never going to be like on that level, because I couldn't get into those categories. You know, I could never find myself into them, you know, until, like I said, I just did it. And like, I learned and I taught myself, like there was a lot of things that happened to me when I was a kid, you know, the near death experiences, and then the other stuff that happened, you know, which I mean, I have no shame to say it, but you know, the sexual abuse stuff that I suffered when I was a kid, you too, it really broke me down a lot. And the thoughts of committing suicide and all that other stuff. I
Yes.
mean, it weighed on me, it weighed on me, it weighed on me. And the first thing I tell people is like, if you want to do this type of work, it may be different for you, but for me, I pretty much tore myself down and then rebuilt myself. And that means like forgiving the person who did that stuff to me, forgiving myself for what I've done. I've always carried the burden with my dad, because like we argued the day that he passed away. Like I left the house not seeing him ever again. And the last time I seen him, we had an argument, you know, and I could never get that back. And that always weighed on me, you know, but that was one thing that the enemy would always use against me, is that, you know,
Yes.
so I told myself I cannot continue to do this fight unless I start forgiving. And that includes myself, you know, so I went ahead, tore myself down, built myself back up, forgave everybody who did me wrong, and just continue to stay on this right path. It's hard as crap, you know, but when somebody does something
Yep.
intentionally to you and you're like, you know, just forgive you. So,
You're like,
you
I
know,
didn't
but
know. I'm good.
yeah, yeah. So like, I just tell everybody, it's like, if you have something, if you can't forgive somebody for something, or you have something that's on you that you just can't get rid of, it is going to use that, and it's going to twist it, and it's going to and squeeze it until you cannot take it anymore, you know, and that's how it gets you. And people always say, well, I've ran into a lot of people who say, well, I'm not scared of demons. I don't care. I'm not scared about demons. I'm like, well, that's good, because they don't go after you. They go after your son who's maybe sick, your mom who's almost dying, your dad who's you know, who's having a hard time, you know, with life right now. They're attacking everybody else in your circle. And then when all that is done and you're finally breaking down because you can't find answers why your son is sick, and then that's when the questions start coming in. You know, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Now it
Yeah.
got you. Now it got you. You know, and that's how it works. And then people just cannot comprehend that. You know, I'm like, that's good that you're not scared of demons. That's good.
Yeah.
I bet you your son is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure everyone else is. Jen, we can do voiceovers in the closet. Hell yeah. I'll call you later. Um, Mary Jo, when they open their mouth and three different voices come out at once, it's a pretty good clue. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. She's
Um,
the one that's always with me on cases. So that's
um,
the lead for Blue Bonnet Paranormal.
yes, Jen, Mexican food is good, and I'm pretty sure I was Mexican in a past life, but I only eat authentic. Thank you. Free Sherry. Sherry's still here with us. Everybody's having a
Nice.
good time. And that's what I'm
Cool.
glad for. And you mentioned it. You hit the nail on the head with these things. It is a path, and people don't realize. You hear all these people. I want to be a demonologist. Well, people, let me tell you something. It ain't for everybody.
Mm-mm.
Number one. Number two. Uh, don't play with stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a game.
Yeah.
It certainly is not.
Mhm.
It's a lonely life.
Very much so. I mean,
Because
it has its shares of problems. You know, there's a special someone in my life right now that, you know, she has problems with the paranormal itself, and especially the stuff that I deal with, you know, and that's like something that weighs on the relationship itself. And I've always told her, she would be the only one that I would stop this for, you know. That says a lot, you know. But like being even, and like I told her, even if I stop what doing this, because of the abilities I have, they never stop. Like there's been a couple of times when I'm having a conversation with her and it's right here in my ear saying something completely different, or something else is going on, and I'm like trying to look at her and have a conversation while this thing is trying to talk to me. And I'm like,
you're
okay.
like, yeah, there's no turning
Yeah.
it off. I encourage people also,
Hmm.
take a break sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Sometimes you have to.
Hmm.
Um, you Everything plays on your emotions.
Hmm.
Go into locations with a positive outlook. Don't go into locations looking for bad. You're going to find bad. You go looking for it, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
Um, Also remember, you can't scare the shit out of yourself. If you go in and you going in hot and you're scaring the shit out of your, oh shit, something touched my hair. Yeah, the wind
Hmm.
blew. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It wasn't a demon pulling your hair.
Not
Just
everything's
saying.
paranormal.
Not everything's paranormal. Um, Denise, I'm very lucky with my support system. Sister, you've always got us. We love you. And yeah, we kick ass. That's what we do.
Sweet.
Melissa is, John taught me about that. I was wanting to opt out on an investigation due to personal reasons. And he told me now is the time to do it, with me being so strong with my abilities, and it made me stronger. Yeah, you can't be scared. You can't be scared. You got to
Hmm.
accept and remember, these are not ours to claim.
Yeah.
We are mere vessels, and
Hmm.
we are used as tools.
Yep.
It's
Exactly.
not something like you said earlier, John. It's not something that it happens when you need it.
Hmm.
When and it's normally when you need to help people.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Find
It's
someone to talk to. If you need help, there's
Mhm.
lots of people out here that, we may not have the answers, but we know somebody that does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and you're on the road a lot. So,
Yeah. Very much.
um, going back to Kansas, and I did watch, your live. Apparently
Hmm.
you had some, oh yeah, just so y'all know, sometimes they're not demons, they're police or people that are in locations that aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did it
It's
end up working out for you?
it's funny because when I got back home, I was watching. Oh my gosh, Paranormal Lockdown with Nick Groff and all, and Katrina, and they were going towards the basement, and then they were in the basement, and then on the camera you could hear the stomping, like somebody was running through the hallways, boom, 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 and I was like, dude, and then they went to go check it out to see if anybody's up there. Nobody was up there, and they were like, wow, what could have that been? And that took me right to that location, because that's exactly what happened. We thought somebody had actually broke in and stomping all around. It sounded like there was like 5 or 6 people up there. I can't tell
Oh
you
wow.
exactly what they were saying, because of what they were saying, we had to call
Yeah.
911. And then police get there. They swept it, didn't find no one at all. No one at all.
Oh
Don't know where they
great.
went. And then we had to sleep in there still. So,
Fun.
and yeah, and then the other guy's knife was missing. So we were trying to figure out, like, how did they get from there all the way to headquarters without us even hearing them or seeing them? Take their knife, didn't take his knife, didn't take none of the equipment, go back up, go to that floor, stomp all around, and then somehow disappear when the cops get
Yeah, yeah.
there.
See, if you were a criminal in life, and didn't like the police, you'll be a criminal in death who doesn't like the police. Just
Oh yeah.
saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of guys, like I'm not hiding in the closet anymore. I'm giving props to Nick Groff on every show, just so you
Mhm.
know, because anybody that's got a cardboard cutout of him, we can get that to me, and he can be my co-host.
I do like him as an investigator. I do like him as
He's
an
a great
investigator.
guy, and
Yeah.
I decided to start sharing that. We got to start sharing the people that inspire us.
Yeah.
He's been through a lot, and he came because this is what he loves,
Hmm.
and he doesn't stop. He just keeps going, and he takes care of his fans.
Yeah.
He reaches out. He's just a nice guy. He's no different, and he'll tell you. That's like Rochelle Stratton. I absolutely love her. I had the honor of having her on my show before.
Hmm.
She's a real person. I tell people all the time, we have, these are real people. I used to wait on celebrities. So, they're just people. You got to treat
Yeah.
them like people. I mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
but we have to speak up and be like, hey, who inspired you? Hey, John Zappas, all day long.
Hmm.
Dave Schrader. Hey, man, y'all stop sleeping on Dave Schrader. Dave Schrader is a great dude. And I'm going to tell him that when I meet him one day.
Yeah.
I mean, who was the person in the paranormal field that inspired you?
For me, was it was the Warrens actually, um,
Oh,
simply
Mama
because
Warren.
the books and stuff like that. Um, I was just so. I mean, even now, I get on Netflix. The only thing I'm watching is like paranormal and serial killers. That's all I'm watching. Every once
Yes.
in a while, I'll throw in Steve Urkel, and I'll just sit there and just have some flashbacks of junior high. But but for me, it was always like they were the first ones, and I was man. I've always wanted just to talk to her because like I knew like I had something, and I just wanted to like talk to her and sit down with her and like just to make sure I'm not crazy. But sadly, she passed away, and I was just like, man, the one
Yeah, that
person
was
that
kind of heartbreaking for me. April is not a good month for me.
yeah, yeah, it's bad.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and
because she was so much like, to me, I would have been like, that's my paranormal grandmother. You know what I'm saying? I
hmm,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
it
it, it was
kind of makes you feel bad.
yeah, it was like when she had passed, I was like, man, I didn't know her, but it was just like because I followed her work so much and was just intrigued by it. It was like when she had passed, I was like, man, it was like I lost my friend. It was like never got a chance to talk to her, never got a chance to do anything with her. And I heard that too. That she was very much a people person. She would sit and talk to you and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I was just like, my gosh, okay, cool. But when not everybody likes Zach, I know that, but when Ghost
Oh,
Adventures came
he's a
out,
really smart man.
yeah, when they came out, it was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. Like this, that's what I want to do. So of course, I followed both of their work and all three of them, Aaron, Nick, and Zach, and they were like the ones that kind of just like steered me into this direction with, doing documentaries and filming and all that other stuff and photography, especially with this type of thing. So I was just like, okay, that's what I want to do, but then when I started taking a break from it, I was doing other things, I was doing mixed martial arts and boxing and doing other stuff, and got away from all this. But I've always watched them, and then the original Ghost Hunters came out too, and they brought the whole scientific stuff to it, and that was
Yes.
like completely different as well, So then I was just like, okay, I like both of these groups, and then I kind of was like taking one from here and taking something from there, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do now. But of course, never had it got part of a team because I always compare it to like storm chasing. So like once it became popular and TV shows and all that other stuff, everybody wanted
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
And like the paranormal now, everybody's wanting to do it, but they're forgetting what they're actually doing sometimes. You're
Yes.
contacting stuff that doesn't want to be messed with sometimes, stuff that can actually hurt you, stuff that can actually hurt your family. There's just so much different things there. And then, like I said, it's almost like storm chasing when you don't actually have the experience, and then you're going out to go film or photograph an F4 or an F5 tornado, but you
Yeah.
don't know how big it actually get, the outside winds, all that other stuff. There are just so many things going on there, like amateurs don't really understand, so they get hurt themselves or they wind up getting somebody else hurt,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm kind of like draw the line a little bit, so I'm just like, when clients tell me, yeah, I had another team come in here and they just gathered evidence and just left and they didn't do anything. I'm like, what? Then what they come and do? And they charged you how much? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what they charge you for? And that's one thing
that's
too.
another pet peeve.
Yeah,
People, you do not charge people.
yeah, I
What
don't
in the
charge people.
hell are you doing? They need help.
Yeah,
Not
we
everybody
don't.
has money. Hell, I know
Yeah,
I
we don't.
don't.
Yeah, we don't charge people at all. So if there's been some clients who have given us like donations, some people have given us pizza, some people just given us refreshments and stuff like that. So it and I always tell them, you do what you're going to do. This is going to go to somebody else, like, so it might go in our gas tank for next week's case or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's going to get
Paying it
used.
forward.
Yeah, so it's going to get used. I mean, we've traveled
And Mary
almost.
Jo must be your sister from another mister.
Yeah,
She said,
she's the.
John inspires me on days I don't want to choke him.
Yeah,
We
so
all
she's
have
like
that
my
one
sidekick.
girl.
Yeah, she's like my sidekick, so to speak, or I'm hers, one of them two. Whoever's
I
not on
like
each other's nerves.
Shannon. It's all fun and games until you get an attachment. That's right,
Yeah.
honey.
Hmm.
It sure
Yeah.
is. And I'm like I said, I'm blessed. There's a lot of people in my family, and that's
Hmm.
what I call the teams that I'm part of,
Yeah.
because they are my family.
Yeah.
We all just want to help people and help spirits and tell the right story, get their stories out.
Hmm.
And we all understand, people, you're never going to make money in the paranormal. You do it because you love it. You do it because you
Yeah.
love others.
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough. This is not a competition to see who
Hmm.
can help the most people,
Yeah.
or who can find the biggest demon. Yay, you want to go find them, you go get them. I don't want them.
That's crazy.
Love your
Who's got the
neighbor.
best one so far?
Yeah, I'm not even trying to
Yeah.
do all that.
Yeah, and it's funny because there is a lot of people that I have met in this field. There is a lot of talented people, photographers, videographers,
Yes.
people who just even know business. They're behind the scenes, and that's, I mean, it's when people say, well, you can't make money in it. I'm like, yeah, you can't as an investigator, but if you are a good investigator and somebody sees that and they want to produce a show and they want you to do all that, because of your abilities of knowing how to do videography, knowing how to photograph, knowing how to do photography and videography, even just being a people person in front of the camera, knowing the scientific stuff, as far as paranormal, there's opportunities out there for you. It's just like, in this one aspect of helping people, it's not there. You can't go over there and charge somebody
Yeah.
$1,200 to go investigate and just like, oh, we didn't
Oh,
find
no.
anything but this EVP and it's heavy breathing.
I've
This doesn't work
heard
like
the
that.
insanity. I have
Yeah.
heard the insanity. I was told that there was a team west, way west. They were
Uh-huh.
charging people $600 to come sage their home.
Mm.
Shitting me, what?
I wonder if it's the same team that I've encountered.
Well, here's my thing. When I heard, because I talked to the client,
Uh-huh.
they saged my home to get rid of a demon. Huh? What?
Oh no.
Here, let me give you a name of a local team that's very well respected. And yeah, no.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
This is all about, this is a love, a passion, people. We have young
Mhm.
people out here, the next generation of investigators. We
Yeah.
have to set an example,
Hmm.
because these kids, I'm not going to lie. And my mom has watched the show. She knows. I don't care. I was
Yeah.
skipping school 15, 16 years old doing paranormal investigations, people. We don't want our kids doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous. You have
Yeah.
problems just going into a cemetery. You know, the elements. You got snakes, which I don't do snakes, people.
Yeah, I don't do that either. I'll run away from that before I run away from a demon.
We're like, what? No. But I do want you to tell everybody, you know, we got to do this again sometime. Get together and talk. Where they can find you, if they want to contact you, and some of the things you might be doing in the future.
So we'll start off with what we're going to be doing in the future. So we got a couple of cases coming up in the East Texas area, as long as, and some up north in North Texas, doing some filming for a TV show that I really can't say anything about, but hopefully, you know, we are filming now, but more things to come like that. I also got a book coming out as well. I'm right in the middle of getting all that done and trying to find the right people for it. But as far as that is concerned, you guys want to reach out to me. So I'm part of like 2 teams. So there's Blue Bonnet Paranormal on Facebook, and then there's the Dark Explorers Paranormal team. And then my YouTube channel is Spooky Boy Paranormal Podcast. And you can reach me all through there. And if not, just find me on Facebook, John Montalongo. I'm right there sitting in.
And if you can't find him, I'll find him.
I'm pretty sure you'll send the links.
yeah, they'll be like, here you go. Guys, we thank you for, I personally thank you for all the support that you give me on my shows. Thank you for, you know, joining in. Thank you for asking questions, interacting with the guests. If you haven't already, please go like the Midnight Wolfpack Productions Facebook page. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, Pac-Man Paranormal, After Midnight, Bad Moon, The Black Wolf, and then Wicked Woman Paranormal. Check us all out. Give us a like. And I'll see y'all next week. I got a bunch of new guests coming up. I'll make that announcement on Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Y'all have a great night. I'll see you, John, in the back.
Okay.